Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to do a review of the Oben CT-3535 carbon fiber travel tripod. I recently went on an extended trip to the state of Arizona, and there was a number of photography-related things I wanted to do while on that trip, including some backpacking and shooting some landscapes. I took along some gear to do some long exposure work. I also needed to do some video and some portraits. So I wanted to have a tripod along. However, while I have a number of tripods, none of them are very good for travel. My typical tripod that I use weighs in at about 8 pounds, and it's really not all that compact. And so I did a little bit of research, and I elected to try out this Oben. It's the CT-3535 tripod, and then it comes with a combination with the BE-208T ball head. So this combination, it weighs in at only a total of 2.5 pounds. That's 1.1 kilograms, and frankly, that's lighter than a number of lenses that I review. And really importantly to me, it folds down into a very compact 1 foot or 30.5 centimeter package, which, as you can see, this is kind of my trail backpack that I use quite often. It's a Low Pro VersaPack 200 AW, and so it is, the tripod itself, it's no wider than the backpack, and the way that it folds up, it folds in such a way that there is no kind of protuberances that might catch on things, and so as a result, it's very easy to negotiate with this combination. In fact, it's so clips on there so easily on this particular combination that most of the time I took it off and I put it back on without even taking the backpack off. You know, if I just wanted to quickly go to a tripod setup. And then on top of that, I also traveled, my main kind of way of hauling my gear was this Vanguard Heralder rolling backpack. It's got 4 wheels on the bottom. It's got the extending out handle, and so it's a nice thing for taking on the airline, and my review of it will come shortly. But I just put it down into this pouch on the side, and it only really adds on about 3.5, 4 inches to the side. And so in every way, it is very compact. However, once you actually assemble it out, it's got 5 different locking sections. And by the way, it also has 3 different locking positions, you know, depending on the situation that you're in. But if you'll extend out each one of those 5 sections, one other thing I will note is on the first day that I had it, I continued to unlock in the wrong direction. I wasn't familiar with it, wasn't paying enough attention, and I kept screwing the wrong direction. And you can actually unscrew any of these leg sections, which obviously you don't want to do. When I did that, there was a little sleeve that came out, and I had to kind of fit it back together and put it back together. So I do wish that it would kind of have some mechanism to where you can't kind of loosen it too much. But once you get familiar with it, of course, it's no problem. So once you fully assemble it and extend that center column to its highest position, it gets you up to a height of 51.8 inches. That's 130 centimeters. And so really it's fairly tall. I'm about 6'1", and so while it obviously doesn't get it up to eye height for me, it's really not all that bad to lean over and to look in through it. And it's actually surprisingly stable here. Now obviously, like with any tripod, the lower you go in terms of the center column, the more stability that you get. But overall, I was surprised by how stable it holds everything. One of the things that I was concerned about as a part of this is that my wide-angle lens of choice is the Tamron 15-30 f2.8 VC. It's a pretty heavy lens, and because it has a curved front element, I use the Photodiox Wonder Pana filter system, and the filters for that are 150 millimeters, and so all told, it gets pretty hefty. So what I wanted to know is that when I put the shooting position with the ball head, you know, into not just a vertical shooting position, but more importantly to me is that a lot of times I want to tilt the whole assembly up. Is it going to be able to lock and hold everything? Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be any problem with that at all. The ball head and tripod, it will handle a combination of up to 9 pounds. That's a little over 4 kilograms. Well, the combination I've got here, which is about as heavy as what I use, the Canon 100 to 400 millimeter Mark II lens, and then a 5D Mark IV body, that combination, it comes out to about 5¼ pounds, which leaves me nearly 4 pounds of wiggle room on top of that. And so I'm not concerned. That supports as much as what I need it to support. And so overall, that works actually surprisingly well. On the actual ball head itself, you have one knob that allows you to do as I'm doing, to just kind of set your shooting position. And then there's a second knob that allows you to rotate around on a horizontal axis. And so it's nice to have that kind of versatility there built into it as well. Now, when it comes to stability, there's a couple of things that you might want to watch for. Number one, this thing only weighs 2½ pounds. And so if you have that combination that I described with those big filters on there, those things are like small windows, and so they catch a lot of wind. So you're going to want to add some stability to help to hold it down because the tripod itself is so light. Right now, if you buy from B&H Photo, they will include this Oben STB-10, and they call it a tripod hammock. And basically all it does is it attaches to the 3 legs, and then you can just put stuff in there, whatever happens to be around, rocks, chunks of wood, gear, sand, whatever. Take your shoes off and put them in there, just to add some weight into it. Another thing that I've actually used as well is that it's got a spring-loaded clip at the bottom. Just attach your backpack or your camera bag, whatever it is you happen to be carrying, or something else, and so you can add on weight that way to help to stabilize everything. You can also remove the bottom feet from this and expose. There are spike tips at the bottom, and so that can help also to, if you've got a soft surface, to actually dig it in and to ground it in that way. So there's 3 different locking angles. On top of that, you can also reverse the center column if you want to shoot in a lower position. And on top of that, you can unscrew one of the legs and attach it to the center column, and you have a monopod if you want to have that along. Another thing that I've actually found surprisingly nice for my kind of review type work is that sometimes I want to get very low, and I'm not always crazy about the reversing the center column and shooting upside down. This can actually go to a minimum height of only 8.6 inches. That's under 22 centimeters, which is quite low, and so it allows you to get down for shooting flowers or other things that are lower to the ground, and that in itself I find is quite handy as well. Now, to highlight just a couple of things that I'm less crazy about, I do like the fact that it's got a quick release plate here, and I do like the fact that it's got a ring that can loosen up or to raise up to where you can finger tighten it, so you don't need any kind of tools. What I do find is because everything is kind of small, the edges of this tightening ring, they're a little bit sharper than what I like. And so when you put a lot of pressure on them, it almost feels like it's cutting into your skin, although it doesn't actually do that. It cuts in a little bit more than what I would like. So I'd like if that was a little bit more rounded. The other thing is that while everything's small, of course, so while there is a bubble level here, right now I've got a lens with a tripod ring on here so I can still see it, but under many situations you're going to have just the camera body itself attached to the quick release plate, and as soon as you do that and you put the camera on there, the bubble level disappears, and so it's not always all that useful. But really those are fairly minor quibbles. I found that the system just works quite well. And it's very easy to, once you kind of get the hang of everything, it's very easy to disassemble it all. And so, you kind of learn by feel. I wasn't crazy about these twist locks at first, but I kind of developed a feel for them. And as you can see here, for both the primary loosening or tightening, if you have decent sized hands, as I do, you can actually, do that last step. You can tighten them all at the same time, which is kind of nice. And so it just helps with the overall speed of doing that. And then, you just use the locks, reverse those legs, and, very quickly you're back to a very compact package. And then I would clip that under the backpack, Or if you want to use, it includes a nice zippered carry case, and so you can also bring it along in that way. I don't often use the carry cases themselves because usually I'm using something like this attached to the actual backpack I'm using for photography. But overall, I really liked it on the trip. The fact that it's carbon fiber and it's light and it gets so compact makes it very handy for the kind of thing that I wanted to do. Now, the full retail price on the Oben CT-3535 with the ball head is $299 at B&H Photo, but you'll find that a lot of times it's on sale for a good bit less than that. So keep an eye out for a deal. I'll throw a link down below if you'd like to shop for one yourself. And beyond that, you can find a link to my written review. I'll also throw a link of some of the photos that I took on this trip to the Southwest. If you'd like to see those on my website, you could sign up for my newsletter. And of course, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.